Welcome back to the show. It's G. Levitt, your host, the Tech Shark. Today, we're going to talk about how you can use technology to increase your revenue. Of course, this episode is brought to you by Toolbox OS, the tech for equity concept in America, where we exchange technology for an equity position to grow, scale, and exit your company. Let's get started. So, today we're talking about revenue, and specifically we're talking about how you can drive revenue through technology, through scalability, through these concepts that we base around technology. So let's just talk openly. This is just a brainstorm. I'm not here to give you ideas. You already have the ideas. I might be here to help you think of something that you've already thought of, or remember something that you've thought of that maybe you didn't put a lot of importance or remembrance around. I might bring something to your mind that you've talked about with your team before, with your wife, with your stakeholders. Those are all common things that happen in these discussions. The first thing to note is that inside of the rev model, revenue is the first element of the rev model, which gives us an exponential effect if we can work on all three variables: revenue, earnings, and the multiple. But today we're only focusing on revenue. When we talk about revenue, I typically like to frame it up by giving you a key word to think about, which will help you ideate, and also to give you the stakeholder that we're really talking about when we talk about revenue. And just to be clear, what I'm inspiring you to do is I'm inspiring you to think about technology in three dimensions. From the dimension of revenue, from the stakeholder perspective of your customer, from the dimension of earnings or profitability, from the stakeholder perspective of your staff, and from the dimension of valuation multiple, which is the perception of the stakeholder of your buyer or the capital market. So today we're going to talk about the perception of your customer. That's the real stakeholder. What we're really saying is, how can technology help your customer buy more expensive products, buy more profitable products, buy higher margin products, buy more often, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, because your business is different than the next person's business, and your business is unique and you're unique, there's no way possible for me to ideate here on this show about what things would drive revenue for you. But I'll give you one interesting example that might surprise you. Let's say you had a donut shop across the street. I'm here in Newport Beach, California, right on the water. There are no donut shops nearby, so maybe that's a good idea. If we were able to get the donut shop to $1 million in revenue within the first year, I might conceptualize this revenue conversation around taking a very successful shop that I got to over $1 million in revenue quickly and franchising the concept, as opposed to just thinking about how to grow the revenue of that one unit, right? This is a common way I like to introduce the idea of scaling revenue, not by trying to generate more leads, not by trying to sort of fit a round peg in a square hole, but trying to think about the business from a scalability and intellectual property standpoint. What do you have that's IP, and how can you scale and sell the IP? You can business in a box the business, you could license the concept, you could franchise the concept. All three of those options are similar, but you could take a very small business doing $1 million in revenue and turn it into a $100 million business doing massive, massive enterprise value, and you could do it very successfully and fairly quickly. One of our friends down the street is about to take his company public, over $1 billion in value, using the same concept that we just discussed. One store leads to 100 stores. 100 stores leads to 1,000 stores. Very simple. In your business, you might not have a retail location, but the similar concepts are still there. How can you add scalability, intellectual property, and create something that actually scales much more easily? I talked on another episode about the front end of the business scaling up while the back end doesn't scale up, meaning you can 10x revenue by only 2xing the back end of the business. That's a true sign of a scalable business, where the front end and the back end are disconnected in terms of what they have to grow by. That's scalability in my mind. And that's how I'd like you to think about it. So let's go back to the stakeholder. We're asking you what your customers might want, how you can help your customers, how you can help yourself by delivering a more scalable product to your customers. The key word in this revenue discussion is products. We're typically looking at the products you've created, the products you could build, the products you could add, the product set, the product portfolio, which products you're missing, where you could go next. It could be another segment of the market that you build a product for. It could be the same product in another segment. It could be a brand new segment, and it could be some segment you've never went into that you don't even know what the products need to be yet. Could be a whole multitude of things, right, on how you could grow the revenue. So if you've already got an intellectual property-based product, you already have something that's really scalable, you really want to just start thinking about proliferation. You want to think about joint venture partnerships and alliances you can create to get the IP out there. If it's not an IP-oriented play, you want to think about how to make it IP, make it scalable so that you can sell it 10,000 times over, right? Now that's just a fictitious number because you don't have to get to 10,000 locations to be a successful franchise. You can get to 1,000 and be quite successful, right? But that same concept still applies. This franchise sort of model. How do you franchise your business without actually franchising it? That's something that's worth thinking about. So again, the product is the key word. What products are we missing? Could we create a product? Could we create a software product? Could we create an info product? Could we create a mastermind or community product? Could we create a layer of products where we have an info product that leads to a mastermind product, that leads to a high ticket product? What products are missing? This is how, in my business, Toolbox OS, this is how we scale revenue, is by looking at it multidimensionally and looking about how technology can create us products. Not just how technology can be our cool CRM or our cool ERP or can help us do video conferencing. We look at technology from the product lens, which is the first step to looking at technology from 3 dimensions, from the revenue, EBITDA, and the valuation multiple perspective. Again, the stakeholder is your customer. You're looking at it from their standpoint. You're not looking at it from your standpoint or your staff's standpoint. You're saying, what can I do with my customer, for my customer, about my customer? These are the core concepts that lead us to some cool ideas. They're going to be your ideas, not mine. I'm just here to lead you and guide you. It's the Tech Shark, G. Levitt, signing out for now.